Hi guys, it's Kama. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Now today I want to share with you a funny little story. It won't take long. It just happened on one of our school outings. Now, as most of you know, I operate a school, the Kemet Masai Academy, in Portmore, Jamaica. Now, once per term, we take the students on a school trip, on a field trip, usually out into the country, because it's very important to me for them to be exposed to the different different sceneries on our island, whether it's in the mountains, we go to the river, or we go to a museum, or we go to some historic site. It's very important for them to know these places because this is their country and we have tourists coming here and visiting these places, so we have to know these places as well, right? So on this particular occasion, I think it was in December or sometime last year, we went to the Rose Hall Great House in Montego Bay, Rose Hall, Montego Bay. Now, just a quick little history for those who don't know, and you can do your own research. I'm just giving you a little snippet. The Rose Hall Great House is famous for being haunted by the ghost of Annie Palmer, who was the wife of the overseer who lived at Rose Hall Great House, and she actually ended up killing her husbands, killing some of her slave lovers. In the end, she herself was killed. And so the whole plantation, and particularly the Great House, is said to be haunted. Now we have tourists coming from all over the world to see this haunted place. Some say they actually do see Annie Palmer's ghost or feel her presence, and a whole legend has evolved surrounding it. So you can check out Rose Hall Great House if you're in Jamaica. It's in Rose Hall in Montego Bay. So we went there. I think this was our second trip there, and we went on the tour as usual, went into the dungeon where the slaves were kept and brutalized, where we went through the Great House in Annie Palmer's bedroom and the other rooms, and actually even visited her grave or tomb. And the children were pretty scared, most of them, especially when we went down into the dungeon. It was so dark down there, and they were telling them stories, and then the guide was telling them about the haunted house. And when they left, they were kind of edgy, but then, you know, driving back, because this is in Montego Bay and our school is in St. Catherine, which is closer to Kingston, so it's a 4-hour drive from the school to Montego Bay and then 4 hours back, right? So when we left, because it's a pretty scenic place, right, so on the outside you tend to forget about all of this haunted rubbish, right? And you're looking at the sea, the Caribbean Sea down below the hill, and the lush plantation. So we drove out, and you know, we're passing the coast. It's so beautiful, and that's one of the reasons why I take them out into the countryside, you know, for them to see the beauty of the island, because our island is tremendously beautiful. So we were going back, and by the time we got to St. Anne, it had become dark. So we were there driving through, and then we got to the Bogwalk Gorge. Now this was about 7 in the night when we got to the Bogwalk Gorge, and the Bogwalk Gorge is where the Rio Cobra River runs. Now along that road, the communities that line that road, sometimes there's a flare-up of violence, and the area is known for, you know, gunmen sometimes. And so we wanted to exit the gorge as quickly as possible. Now, as fate would have it, the bus broke down in the gorge, right? And the children started screaming because they were saying Annie Palmer's ghost followed us and she slashed the tire. Oh my God, Annie Palmer's ghost slashed the tire. So they were so freaked, they were freaking out. I remember now it's dark. I don't think they knew they were aware of the danger of the gunmen. You know, the adults were more aware of that danger because we had to be on the alert because these guys could come down through the hills because they're seeing this strange bus, right? Breakdown, they don't know. Yes, they might see that it's children, but they still don't know. And we're seeing these guys just edging around, like checking us out, right? To know if they must, because we could have been robbed, actually, right? So bus breakdown, and it turned out that the tools that the driver had and the male parents who were there, they were helping out, the tools were not adequate to fix that size wheel. So it's like we were stranded, and the children started freaking out because, you know, they're coming from a haunted house only now to be stuck in the middle of nowhere in the dark, and they're saying Annie Palmer's ghost followed us and slashed the wheel. Now, as luck would have it, someone discovered that just down the road there was a garage, and some of the parents walked down there, and it turned out that they got the tool that was strong enough to deal with the wheel. So after about an hour or so, the wheel got fixed, and eventually we drove off and we cleared the Gorge. By the time we got home, it was about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And when the next morning when I saw my students, they all had stories to tell of what they dreamt. So it's like they were saying, Miss, I dreamt that Annie Palmer did this and she did that. And there was, one of them was saying his mom had to sleep with him, or his mom had to come into his room the whole night. He was just so terrified, right? So I don't know if maybe the adults were going through similar feelings but didn't want to express, but just the combination of having left this place, which is notoriously haunted, right? They have pigs and all kind of stuff, claiming that this is haunted, and for that to happen in the middle of nowhere, these children were absolutely terrified. They went home and had nightmares about it, right? So I just wanted to share that experience with you. This is a place that we've been to, and I think I will go back there because of the historical aspect of it, slavery and what was done to our ancestors and so on, but also just that unique little point about the haunted house, you know, and the effect that can have on both children and adults. So I thought it was interesting, and I hope you find it interesting.